Hello friends, welcome to Storytime Narrations. Tonight's story is entitled The Turning Point. Enjoy listening. Aidan Walsh had always been a man of ambition. He could remember being a little boy, sitting on the edge of his bed, clutching his toy airplane and telling his mother that one day he would travel the world and make a name for himself. That little boy's dream had grown into an adult's reality as Aidan became a successful marketing executive in the bustling city of Toronto. At 32, Aidan had it all: a lucrative career, a stylish condo in the heart of the city, and a lifestyle that many envied. He spent his days in high-powered meetings and his nights at networking events, rubbing shoulders with the city's elite. But despite all the external success, Aidan often found himself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, unable to shake the feeling that something important was missing. He couldn't put his finger on it. On paper, his life was perfect. He had everything he had ever wanted, yet there was a restlessness within him that he couldn't ignore. It wasn't until a chance encounter one chilly autumn morning that things began to change. It was a Saturday, and Aidan had planned to spend the day catching up on work. As he hurried down the sidewalk, his phone pressed to his ear, he nearly collided with an elderly woman struggling to carry a stack of books out of a small bookstore. "I'm so sorry," Aidan said quickly, barely glancing at her as he sidestepped out of the way. The woman, seemingly unfazed, smiled warmly at him. "No need to apologize, dear. But would you mind giving me a hand with these?" Aidan hesitated. He was already running late for a meeting, but something in the woman's eyes made him pause. Reluctantly, he ended his call and reached for the books. As they made their way to the nearby bench, Aidan noticed the titles of the books: old classics, poetry collections, and a few well-worn travel guides. "You seem to have a good collection here," Aidan remarked as he set the books down. The woman chuckled. "Oh, these aren't for me. I'm donating them to the community center. They run a reading program for kids, and I like to contribute when I can." Aidan nodded politely, preparing to make his exit, but the woman continued, her voice soft and thoughtful. "Tell me, young man, what brings you so much rush? You seem like someone with a lot on his plate." Caught off guard, Aidan found himself answering honestly. "I suppose I am. My work keeps me busy." The woman studied him for a moment before speaking again. "Busy is good, but too much of it can make you forget the things that matter. What do you do for yourself? What brings you joy?" The question lingered in the air, and for a moment, Aidan was at a loss for words. What did bring him joy? He had spent so long climbing the corporate ladder that he couldn't remember the last time he did something just for the sheer pleasure of it. The woman smiled knowingly, as if she could read his thoughts. "You're young. Don't wait until you're my age to realize that life is about more than work. Find what makes your heart sing and make time for it. You'll be better off for it." With that, she patted his hand, thanked him for his help, and disappeared into the crowd, leaving Aidan standing there, her words echoing in his mind. Over the next few weeks, the encounter with the elderly woman stayed with Aidan. He found himself reflecting on his life and the choices he had made. He had spent so much time focused on success that he had neglected the things that once brought him joy: exploring new places, spending time with friends, and even reading the books he used to love. One evening, as he sat in his empty condo, Aidan made a decision. He grabbed an old travel guide from his bookshelf, one he had bought years ago but never used, and started planning. He realized that it had been far too long since he had taken a break, and he decided to take a trip, something spontaneous, something for himself. 2 weeks later, Aidan found himself on a plane to Peru, a place he had always dreamed of visiting but had never found the time for. As the plane soared above the clouds, Aidan felt a sense of excitement he hadn't experienced in years. For the first time in a long while, he was doing something purely for the adventure of it. The trip was everything he had hoped for and more. He spent his days hiking through the Andes, exploring ancient ruins, and immersing himself in the local culture. There were no meetings, no deadlines, just the beauty of the world around him and the freedom to enjoy it. One afternoon, as he stood at the top of Machu Picchu, gazing out at the breathtaking landscape, Aidan felt a sense of clarity wash over him. This was what life was about, moments like these, where you could breathe deeply and feel truly alive. He realized that he had been so focused on success that he had forgotten to live. When Aidan returned to Toronto, he was a changed man. He still valued his career, but he no longer allowed it to consume him. He made time for the things that mattered, his friends, his passions, and the simple joys of life. He reconnected with old hobbies, started volunteering at the community center, and even began planning his next trip. Aidan never saw the elderly woman again, but he often thought of her and the wisdom she had shared with him on that fateful autumn morning. She had reminded him of something important, that life wasn't just about working and achieving, it was about finding joy in the journey, about making time for the things that truly mattered. Years later, as Aidan stood in his garden, watching his children play, he felt a deep sense of contentment. He had built a life that was full, not just of success, but of love, adventure, and meaning. He had found his balance, and he was grateful for it every single day. And sometimes, when the world grew hectic, and the demands of life threatened to overwhelm him, he would take a moment to pause, to breathe, and to remember the simple wisdom of the woman with the stack of books. Life was about more than just the rush. It was about finding your joy and holding on to it, no matter where the journey took you. The end.
And so we have come to the end of tonight's program. I trust you had a nice time listening. If you did, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also feel free to make comments in the comments section. Till we meet again, stay blessed.